I grew up, well, I was a young kid in the 70s. And what was better in the 70s? Well, I was a Chevy guy than a Chevy Nova. Well, I got a Nova today too. No, this is not anywhere near a Chevy Nova. This is by Tonife. I've reviewed Tonife products in the past a fair bit. There was a while there where they were sending me free stuff, but this knife I bought with my own shekels. It's a nice little fixed blade, full tang knife. We've got a sheath, a Kydex sheath, taco style, has a belt clip. It's got paracord, so you can carry it as a neck knife. And if you know me, I like to carry neck knives, especially when I'm going camping and stuff. This is a pretty good little secondary carry. It's comfortable, it's lightweight, it's got a decent steel, and it's got a great price. Are you interested? Let's get to the tabletop and take a good close look at it. Here's the knife. Yeah, it's just a little knife. Like if we do a size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1, like I often do, yeah, it's not a big knife. It's just a little guy. We've got the sheath here. Let's take a good close look at it. We've got Tonife laser etched in there. We've got a clip, as you can see there. It's just a stainless steel spring clip. Probably the least useful thing about this knife is this clip. Sure, it works just fine. You know, you put your knife in the pocket, you know, get rid of this lanyard if you want to. But when you go to pull the knife out of your pocket, you also have to hold the sheath in order to get it out, or else this just slides off. If you are serious about this knife and you like it, get something like an Ulti-Clip. It'll hold onto your pocket and keep the sheath in your pocket, because this thing is small enough to carry in a pocket. More about the sheath, there's a drain hole right there. And it comes with this paracord, which is pretty good paracord. One thing I've added is these breakaway tabs. I like these barrel breakaway tabs. I can wear this thing around my neck, and if I get snagged up somewhere, it's going to break away instead of choke me to death, because 550 paracord can hold 550 pounds, and I'm not anywhere near 550 pounds. It would make me dead if I was hung up on this thing. So these kind of breakaway tabs are very economical and make it very convenient. They're very comfortable on the back of your neck. So that's that. Easy to use, you know, Phillips tools or a flathead screwdriver to take this apart. If you want to take that off, no problem. The retention on this sheath, quite good. There's no noise. There's no noise at all. It's just holding it nice and tight. And it's got a little lip there, easy to push on. You just grip. Got some jimping right there. Just grip the handle, push it off. And the sheath is quite good. So I like almost everything about the sheath except for this right here. But I much prefer this over one of those big blocks, those belt loops, Tech-Lock style things. I'd much rather have that. And for the blade here, what do we have? We've got 8CR14 MOV stainless steel, which is, in my opinion, a good budget steel. We've got a nice stonewash finish. We've got a high flat grind on it. Little drop point blade, sort of a penknife style blade, but a little bit bigger than most of those. There's some really fine jimping up here for your thumb. So either hand, quite comfortable. And then a little bit coarser jimping a little bit further back if you wanted to grip further back. So I'm very happy with the jimping. And then in the handle, we've got G10. But you can't take the G10 off. That's my second con. That's actually my first con. The biggest con is you cannot take this knife apart because they just used a post here, a hollow tube, so that you can have a lanyard back on it if you want to, but you can't take it apart. Yes, this screw does come loose. So, you know, at first looking at it, hey, sure, this thing comes apart, but no, it doesn't come apart back here. If you were to take it apart, like just pry it right off, there's a very good chance you're not going to get it back together on this end with this tube because it's a tight friction fit in there. Everything's nicely rounded. It's not flat. It's 3D milled and very comfortable in hand. Same kind of jimping that we had up there, we had down here like I showed you before. And even in my hands, I get a full-handed grip. And my hands are just barely into the extra large range. So if you've got men's large hands or smaller, this will be a comfortable knife for you. If you've got extra large hands, you might still like this. Who knows? That's totally up to you. The badging on the knife, we've got Tonife right there on the bevel. I don't usually like that on bevels, but there it is. It's not too terribly big, but I'd prefer if they made it smaller and put it somewhere else. You've got their T here on the pivot pin. Well, it's not a pivot pin, on this body pin. On this side, it says Nova and then 8014 MOV. So there's not all that much to see about this knife. Let's talk about the specifics. This drop point blade has got just a slight chamfer everywhere. It's nice. It's not super thick at the tip. It's nice and strong at the tip without being too thick. And it's not too thin either. Along the edge, it's nice and thin for slicing and cutting. You don't have much of a guard for piercing, but you do have a lot of traction with your thumb there. And hopefully your index finger can hold it as well. So if you're puncturing into things, just don't be slamming it into hard surfaces and you'll be safe from sliding your hand over that edge in most cases. The sharpener's choil on this knife, it's a little bit back on the ricasso. It's not as big as it should be. It should be coming out past this plunge. Thankfully, the plunge rate there from the ricasso to the bevel is pretty quick. It doesn't use up a lot of distance across the blade there. But the sharpener's choil needs to be just a little bit bigger. The weight of this knife is 50 grams, which is 1.75 ounces. Not bad. The weight of the sheath as I have it, including my breakaway beads right there, 37 grams, 1.3 ounces. Together, we've got 87 grams, 3.05 ounces. So 3 ounces basically for all of this. That's not bad at all. The sharpness from the factory, I got a score of 200 bests. That was the average on my test. So it's a slightly worse than average from the knives I reviewed, but still sharp. The cutting edge length, 68.6 millimeters, 2.7 inches. The blade length, so tip to the closest spot on the G10, that is 70.6 millimeters, 2.78 inches. The thickness of the blade, 2.65 millimeters, 0.1045 of an inch, so just over 1/10 of an inch. The blade depth, its biggest right there, 18 millimeters, 0.709 of an inch. How thick is it behind the grind? Measured in 3 places and averaged out, 0.45 millimeters, 17.5 thousandths of an inch. So yes, nice and thin. Very, very good. The grind angles, this side's got an average of 20.6. This got average of 17.3 degrees. This one actually starts at the tip at 18.8 degrees, ends at 15.9 degrees. That's a 2.9 degree variation along the length. This one starts at 20.2, ends at 20.9, so that's 0.7 degrees of change. So it's sharpened better than most of the knives that I review. So that's a very good. The length of the handle, that is 90.6 millimeters, 3.57 inches. The thickness of the handle, 9.7 millimeters, 0.38 of an inch. The handle depth, the widest point's right there, 18.6 millimeters, 0.73 of an inch. The grip area, it's about 8¼ centimeters, about 3¼ inches. This is 161 millimeters long, and the inches are right there on the screen. How much does this knife cost? This knife sells at White Mountain Knives for $26.99. You take off your 10% from coupon code CCE, $24.29. So under 25 bucks American. Fixed blade knives like this have zero issues coming across the border into Canada. This is about 32 Canadian dollars right now at the end of June 2022. So 32 bucks for this, I think, is a pretty good price. Like I said, maybe get yourself an Ulti clip and then you're good to go. As long as you're okay with the fact that you can't take the handle scales off, everything else, you can deal with, in my opinion. The sharpener's choil, yeah, so you sharpen up to here. This is not a primary knife anyways, so it doesn't really matter if it's not going to be the prettiest for sharpening right at the heel of the blade. I can live with that. The handle's nice and comfortable and everything. The sheath holds on really well. It works well as a neck knife, and it works okay as a pocket knife, or put it in a bag or glove box or something. Put it into your camping kit. Sometimes you've got small stuff that you need to cut, and a little knife like this, it's like a portable paring knife in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's a paring knife for your neck or for your camping or for, I already mentioned all that stuff. So I like it. I think the price is good. I think the steel is good, and I'm happy with it. What do you think of this knife? Do you have one? Let us know in the comments down below. If you get one, if you go to White Mountain Knives and get your 10% off with my coupon code CCE. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Huge thank you to my supporters, my financial supporters from Patreon and YouTube memberships. I appreciate your help an awful lot. If you'd like to support the channel, I would appreciate that too. You've got good things coming your way if you're a supporter. I try to give back to you guys, and hopefully we can just keep building our community. It's expensive reviewing knives. I buy almost everything that I review, and that means I have to end up selling almost everything I review so that I can buy some more stuff to review. And the cycle's been going pretty good so far. So that's a big, big thanks to my supporters for that. And remember, everyone, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.